hello. Happy Wednesday, everybody. We're back for another edition of Developer Drop-In. I can hear myself again somewhere, so let me try and find that stream. Again somewhere, so let me try and find that stream. There it is. Again somewhere, so let me try and find that stream. Found it. You need to... There we go. I'm not hearing myself twice now. I hope you couldn't hear me twice. That would be really, really off-putting. Really off-putting. Okay, hi, happy Wednesday, back for another edition or episode of Developer Drop-In. So far, I see Lauren in chat. Hi, Lauren, hope you're having a good Wednesday. I know there's a few other people hanging about, so please say hello, give me a little wave, tell me how your Wednesday is going. I very rashly said to someone earlier today, oh, the weather's not too bad here today. Then I went for a nice walk around the park in my lunch break and it's raining. It rained a lot when I was out and I can see it is still throwing it down now. So, yeah, not such a beautiful Wednesday here for some reason. I'm not really sure what we did to deserve that, but here we are. Not everything is amazing. So I have a plan for today. As always, this is Developer Drop-In. It's your time. We're here to field your questions, really. Find out what you're working on, what you're using our APIs for, what sort of stuff we can help you with. And as ever, I have burning issues, things that I want to share with you, that I think, things that I'm seeing people ask us pretty often, that I would love us to just recap on in case it's helpful. What's important here is that you feel free to interrupt, chat, ask questions, ask me to do stuff again, ask for it in a different tech stack. Like, whatever we can do in this time for you, then that's the plan. That's what we're hoping to do. So yeah, that's the basic outline. It's all good. So my tentative plan today is that I want to talk to you about it's a mixed bag. Okay, let's say it straight. It's a mixed bag of API security and also user security. So I want to show you some stuff, and I also want to demo some stuff. We very rashly promised you some Go a few weeks ago, so you'll get some Go in the middle of all this, probably some JavaScript. And other technologies are often available on request. So let's switch over and I'm going to walk you through some of our API security stuff and some tips that I want to share on that. So something like this should be good. What you're looking at now is the this is our developer portal. This is where we keep all of the good things. And one thing I want to show you is our authentication, documentation. And that's to give you a bit of context for some of the other things that we're going to talk about today. So the different API products handle authentication in different ways. And I think it can be a bit of a challenge. And this is where using our SDKs can really help. You can see from the table quite a lot of our existing APIs. The older ones typically are API key and secret, and whether you supply them in various different ways, that if you use the SDKs, they will handle that for you, so you don't need to worry too much about it. There are also some that use the JSON Web Token, so JWT, or I think you're supposed to say JOT. Does anyone say JOT? I'm not sure I can bring myself to say JOT. JWTs. So that's a pretty big topic, and I don't know if we'll have time today. If we don't, then I'm going to talk about JWTs next time as well. So starting with the authentication, then you can see we've got a few different things going on in terms of showing your API key and secret. What I do want to mention is the secret rotation. Whether you've watched this stream before or you've watched pretty much any of our other streams. I don't want to point fingers. I know Lauren's in my audience, but it's very easy when you're trying to stream your code to stream slightly too much of your code and to stream your API secrets. Now, those are secrets. Once your API secret has been streamed, you need to delete it and set a new one. And we do that with the secret rotation. You can do it, there's a way of doing it through the dashboard. It displays all your secrets, so that would be a terrible idea. You can also do it programmatically, which I think is really neat. I do not have a script that does this for me, but I do have, we do have API endpoints. So I'm going to show you how to set a secret. I'm going to set a temporary secret, and then we'll be able to use it for some API calls. Got more people wandering in the chat. Here's Mark. Hi Mark, happy Wednesday. What are you hacking on? I am about to be hacking on secret rotation. It's something I do a lot, usually after the stream. But if you ever do find, oh no, I committed my credentials, or I accidentally shared it somewhere, or it's in a screenshot. I did have one recently where I was trying to do documentation and I had included my key somehow in the screenshot. Then this is the thing to do, is to rotate. And this is good practice anyway. Usually you'll set secrets and then you'll use, probably one account locally and then another account, another set of secrets on your various test and live platforms. And those will be deployed in environment variables. But it's still good to rotate them, and it's good that we have the ability to do that programmatically. So let's check out the secret rotation API. I haven't used this one for ages, but I don't remember it being difficult. I guess you can be on this journey with me, and you should let me know if you have any questions. So first of all, we're going to do retrieve API secrets, and it has, we have base 64 encoded headers. Gosh, that's very exciting. Mark's trying to debug a load of less in our platform. Also trying to debug some date picker issues. Typical Wednesday, really. Does sound like a typical Wednesday. A bit of this, a bit of that, a few broken stuffs. Yeah, sounds like my Wednesday. I'm writing quite a lot of talk content at the moment. There's some conferences coming up at the end of the month. But yes, a little selection of minor broken things. Sounds like hump day for sure. Alright, so here we go. Base 64 encoded because it's basic auth. Let's have a go with Postman. I think we can just import our spec into Postman. And then we can use it there. Oh, Lauren's asking what conferences I'm most excited about. Lauren, I am doing API Specifications Conference in September, and because I'm giving more than one session there, my life is dominated by content for that. And it got a bit held up because I spoke at a cool user group last week. Hello, PHP Minds. So yeah, all got a bit behind schedule. But the joy of working in a big team is that I did a rehearsal for my colleagues this morning, and I think we generally agreed that I might be on the right lines, which is amazing. The downside of API Specifications Conference is that I am in the UK and it is on a Pacific time zone. So although they're starting in the morning and like not running that late into their afternoon, it's still the middle of the night for me. They've scheduled me really kindly from the talks that I'm delivering, but I definitely feel I'm probably not going to watch all of those talks in real time, but there's a bunch of things I want to see. I'm also scheduled against a talk I really want to see. Don't you hate it when that happens? So, yeah, I have work to do. All right, so I have already derailed myself. I think with all the conferences going online, it means that we can get to any conference, but at the same time, wow, there's a lot of conferences coming up, so it's a lot. Noreen is saying I might need to swap my tea for an espresso shot. Yeah, Noreen, I'm just worried about it. So I'll be doing sessions that are sort of, let me try and think about the time zone difference. So I'm on at like 10 a.m. their time, which is going to be, it's not too bad. It's like 6 p.m. for me, and then obviously finishing about 7. And then there's another later one. But I'm afraid of drinking really strong coffee like in the evening here, because I think that then I'll be up all night. So I think I'm going to skip the caffeine and try and do it on sugar and see if that gets me through. Mark's saying the same thing happened at PHP Yorkshire. You got scheduled against someone. Yeah, PHP Yorkshire is, I've been scheduled against a few really good talks there, and that's what happens. I don't feel like conference organisers should ever apologise for having too much good content, but it's a bit, hey, I could have had a different slot maybe. I'm missing one thing I really want to see. Ball Bearded Builder, hi, happy Wednesday, how's it going? Don't be afraid, you can do it. Yeah, no, too much caffeine at bedtime, it's not a good thing. Gonna be bouncing off the ceiling. Okay, so the API secret stuff is part of the account API, and I'm going to download the specification for that. Let's save that. Yep, okay, that came down, and I'm going to import it into Postman, and we're going to have a little play with this, and then I'm going to show you some Verify stuff. So if you have questions about Verify, this would be a great time to let me know, and we can work on those while I'm digging around in the Verify. I love the Verify API, I know it pretty well, so I am well up for answering your questions. This is the downloads, but I'm not seeing the file I just downloaded. Is this one? Found it. Those are directories, that's why. If you're bouncing off the ceiling, be sure to stream it. That's the content I'm here for. So I often stream, I guess I'm not that bouncy actually, but I stream in my morning, which I find much easier than streaming in my evening, which is why I've started doing it. Half the planet's awake, whatever time you're streaming. And, but listen, I know that's like literally the middle of the night for you, bald bearded builder, so you probably don't see those streams. Just checking my import options in Postman. So I just want the collection. I don't need to import the API. I just want the pre-canned requests there. And I want to organize on tags. Now that's especially important for the account API. Oh, which I already have here. Oh yeah, I did some other stuff with the account API the other day. There's a screenshot of it in one of my slide decks. Then secret management is where we're going. And we can retrieve secrets, create secrets, retrieve one secret, revoke an API secret. So here is retrieve secrets. We have to say which API we are retrieving for. And so I'll use my API key variable. If you have questions about variables in Postman, I can take those as well. Mark has just made himself coffee at 3 p.m. It's one of those days. So I normally, drink more coffee, because my husband's working from home, because we're all working from home, because lockdown. I definitely drink more coffee when my barista is in my house all the time. It's awesome. But this is about my cutoff. So I did have a cup of coffee after my lunch. I feel adequately and perhaps appropriately caffeinated right now. And but I try not to drink too much coffee. It makes me weird, and then sometimes I don't sleep very well, and that makes me really, really weird. It's like there's a balancing act, and for me it's I don't function that well without any coffee, but the third one, a bit like the third beer, is typically bad news. Okay, so where was I? Okay, so this knows that it needs a basic auth, and I can give it a username and password. And again, it uses the API key in secret. So oh no, I need to put my variable in here. Oh, I can't. It's basic auth. I need to put my password in here. Maybe I can't answer your questions about Postman variables, because I seem to be confused about mine. Yeah. Oh, if I click show password, something's happening. Maybe it was just obscuring that for me. Wow, maybe I do need more coffee. Anyway, it was obscuring it for me in the password field. I think that will work. We'll see, won't we? We'll get some environments. So Lordy Nexmo is my environment in Postman that holds my actual credentials. So I should be able to get the list of API secrets from actual live Nexmo with actual live creds, like this. Unauthorized, provided credentials are invalid. I wonder how I do basic auth on this. Huh. I mean, we're probably going to count this out quite quickly and just hit curl because that's the way I like to roll. Bald Bearded Builder, hello. Sugar will keep me up worse than coffee. I can drink coffee at 9:30 and go to bed at 10. I really can't. Let me eat a bowl of Frosted Flakes at 5:30 and I'm up till 2 a.m. I think it depends what you're used to. I like to keep my body well accustomed to sugar. Not loads. I'm not a soda drinker or anything, but I'm used to it enough. Like I can eat a donut and survive the experience. Luke's here. Hi Luke, happy Wednesday. It's nice to see everybody. All right, I can't send this request from here and I think I should be able to, so that's a little bit frustrating. I am going to instead, Martin's here as well. Hi, happy Wednesday. I'm going to instead base64 encode my creds, except then I'll still have to paste them in. Because I only have one secret, that's how this works. Let me think about that for a moment. Wonder if this just doesn't work in this context. Hold on. Right. Let's put the secrets screen up and see if I can. So it's basic auth, which I think implies that it'll be base64 encoded. The headers stuff, it looks base64 encoded. Now I'm putting it up here. It looks plausible. Obviously isn't. Let's just, so I've got the secrets up because I'm just putting my real values in to see if I can understand what's happening here. And I'm try not to share this with you, but you know, I rotate my key so often because I share it on this stream so often that it just can't be helped. All right, so I am gonna so I'm using some kind of crazy online base64 decoder, which I'm sure will do wonderful things. Okay, I understand the problem. All right, yeah. I revoked the secret that's currently in my Nexmo environment in Postman, so I can fix that, and then you'll get me back. Luke, everybody's eating. Why are you all eating? I don't think I can reach food from here. Not that I probably want to eat on stream. Luke's eating a bowl of homemade piri-piri nuts. And Noreen's eating chips and guac at 10 a.m. Also, perfect food. Yeah. I feel a bit left out on the food thing. I'll have to get a really good snack when I finish this. No snacks allowed until I figure out how this works. I just need to put my... That's right. So I revoked my secret so that I would only have one secret and I could show you a new one. But I haven't rotated this one to match. That's my real creds. Press the reset button. Update. So if I go back to not showing my secret, and you can have the screen share back. Haha, back again. Let's try again at sending this request. There we go. So you may be wondering at this moment why I think it's safe to fetch all of my secrets and share that with you. Let me know if this font size is big enough, by the way. It suddenly looks really small to me. I'm going to go up one anyway. Okay. And the answer is, if I can get hold of the right bit of the screen and scroll it, here we go. It doesn't return your actual secret. All you get is the ID and the created at. Once you've set your secret, you can never retrieve your secret in plain text. That's not how this works. If you need to get it, you can set a new one and then unset yours. So that's your API key and secret separate to your website dashboard login, where you can also find your secrets, and you can do this secret rotation stuff that I'm trying to show you, which just ended up long-winded already and we haven't even begun. Luke's saying he'd be really motivated if he had to finish something before he could have food. I'm okay, I had a good lunch. I know how to prepare for a stream. I haven't checked my creds in Postman, but I have had a good lunch. That's the important thing. Okay, so you can see this. We've got I've got one secret and that's its ID. So I could delete that, except I only have one secret, so that would be a mistake. And in fact, I don't think I can. I am not going to try though. that would not be ideal. What I can do is retrieve just one secret, which will give me more or less the same data, and I can create an API secret. Now, what's cool about this is I can start to add secrets to my account. So I need to say which account I want to add this for. So I'm going to put my API secret in there. API key. If you have an account with sub-accounts, you can manage keys for those sub-accounts through the same thing. So you have to say which account you're operating on. I need to set the creds again here. In fact, let's set this once at the top. You can set the authorization at the folder level and it'll inherit. So this is going to be basic auth, it's API key, API secret. Perfect. Now I will set this to inherit, and this create API secret will inherit from the secret management folder within the Nexmo account API collection. So you can set the auth at the collection level or at the folder level, and then or at the individual request level. Because all of these use the same, I'm set it here once, and then for each of the individual requests, I can go here and inherit from parent, which I think it's just really cool. As I started to look at maintaining a bigger collection of Postman endpoints, I found this really helpful. So, little Postman tips. Does anyone use Postman? Are the Postman tips helpful, or do you have other favorite HTTP clients? I know we've looked at a few on this stream in the past, and I would love to know who's here and what you're most enjoying. Meanwhile, let's invent a secret. So the string can be anything, but it has to be something. I guess I could just copy it, couldn't I? If I just mash on the keyboard, something like this, probably not with a space in it, that's silly. And then if I copy this, it's the string that starts with AA, and we can find that in my copy paste buffer. So I'm going to create a secret, sending this. Oh, secret validation error. Does not meet complexity requirements. I'm going to need more clue. I've got numbers, uppercase, lowercase. Do I need let's try uppercase as well. I might need some punctuation. I don't actually know what the complexity requirements are. There we go. Woo! We've created it, and it's got an ID, and it's got created at. So if I fetch all my API secrets again, then scrolling down, you can see now I've got two. There's the one when I last had to rotate my secrets after I got everything wrong in July. And then here's the one that we've just created today, which is the 19th of August when I'm doing this on live stream. Whoop! So that's pretty cool. And I could then go ahead and revoke the old one. So when I do that, when I've accidentally shared my existing secret, I can come here, create a new one, and revoke the old one. Use some kind of random token generator or something. It's only ever going to go in my password manager and into my clipboard buffer, and then stay there. I never need to be able to type it. That's not really how passwords or secrets work. You just need to be able to capture it, put it somewhere safe, and I find it helpful to be able to recognize it. So whether you start with the same 2 characters every time or something, so that you can tell, oh, this one's my key. A bit like I know the last 3 digits of my phone number, so I can copy that out of my copy paste buffer as well. That's super handy. Luke loves Postman. He's written about it before. Lots of cool new bits since then. I kind of can't keep up with the cool new bits at Postman. There are, every time I talk to their staff, there's amazing things, or I'm seeing news coming from there. Martin says, Postman are really pushing the innovation at the moment. I'm regularly impressed by the new additions. Yeah, me too. And it's something I use a lot. Have you seen the web version? I don't know why I'm using the desktop version. Just habit, I think. They have a web version, and it really looks a lot like the desktop version. And because you're logged in, you can, your stuff appears in both places. I just think it's so cool. And with the different, so I've got different workspaces and also team workspaces where we're working on publishing a collection. If you're interested in the collection, let me know, and I guess we'll share that too. We should do that on a future stream. I'm just making a big list of things we should do on a future stream. So that's secret rotation. If you're working with API key and secret, this can come up, and it's absolutely fine. It's not a problem to rotate your secret. You can do it this way, you can do it through the dashboard. There's some cool stuff going on. Okay, so next I want to show you something completely different. So let's get Postman. I will just minimize it because it's kind of slow to start up. And something completely different is Verify API. Kind of fits with my very tenuous security theme because Verify is something you can use to confirm the credentials or the details of your own users, of people's users who sign up for your own application. So when you create an application, you ask a user for their details. If they give you an email address, often you'll send them an email with a link in it, some sort of unique code, and you confirm that they own that email address. Well, Verify API is, in its most simple form, is kind of that, but for phone numbers. So if we hop over to the Verify API, then here in this picture you will see your amazing web app, and you make a verification request and say, please verify this telephone number. A user just gave it to me. And what we do is Verify API sends a code to that number, and when the user then fills in the number on the next screen, we say yes or no, it's valid or it's not valid. So that's Verify. It's reasonably simple to use, and we're all familiar with it. My colleague Kevin built a really nice node-based demo of this the other day. Let me just dig out the link. You can read the blog post. Here's the blog post. I'm going to put it here in my browser, and also here in the chat in case you want to grab it and bookmark it for later. And it's about adding this simple Verify into an existing application. In this case, it's like just a little demo. It doesn't do anything else. But I really like this diagram showing the user gives you the phone number, you send them the code, they enter the code, and hopefully they sent you the right code and it's successful. Then I want to show you some of the stuff you can customize with Verify. By default, when you put in your phone number, it will send you a text, and if you don't manage to complete by supplying the correct code, it'll follow up with a phone call. And that typically, between the two attempts, that will typically reach most users one way or another. Not every network is fast at delivering SMSs. Some people prefer text. Some people can't manage text. They need a phone call. So having the two is super nice. I've got my phone hooked up, so we're going to see what happens. Just clearing off all the general alerts that have shown up here. So I love the way this is written, because the first thing it says is the finished code example is here. So we can go here, just grab the code and install it locally. Now I've got this cloned already somewhere. One of these windows. I actually think it's that one all the way over there. Yeah, I found it. Here is the install already. And all I've done here is npm install, which I didn't read the instructions the first time, but npm install, and then index.js. And where you set up the credentials in this project, which is, you'll see it when you open index.js, it gives you a place to set your API key and API secret, which is all we need for working with Verify. And here, I'm using environment variables. So I have a script that sets environment variables in my terminal so that when I run Node, it will pull in the environment and it can be accessed like this. And I do this so that I don't have to paste my API secret into a script. Because inevitably then I screen share the script at some point. So hopefully it's not in the logging or anything that this application does, but we'll find out. So when I run it with node index.js, that starts up as a server on localhost. It's going to be port 3000, which is default for Express. Here we go, localhost 3000, and we get this hello world. It's already got a default number in it, but that's not my number. I'm guessing that would actually text Kevin. Okay, then I'm going to verify that code. I'm trying to figure out if I could put the phone in shot as well. Yeah, I think so. Where is it? Here it is. If I find that screen shared phone window, too many windows. Okay, and put it not right on top of the form. And make Firefox smaller. Something like this. Does this make any sense to anybody? Hopefully. Okay. Then when I send we might have sound as well, but we'll find out. We'll find out when I send it. Screen's alive. Yes. Oh, USB. Yes. So verify sends us a code. With a bit of luck, there it is. That was easy. We will get a text message with a code in it. It's valid for 5 minutes. On the default timing, you need to wait about 3 minutes before the phone call comes through. If you're interested in seeing the timing and the multiple calls and the waiting, we can definitely do that. But I should have set shorter timeouts, otherwise it's not very interesting. Hey, you can tell tell that I tested this, and that I've used the number before for testing. That's funny. This is the new one that just came through though, 4976. So I am going to put that code in here, 4976, and we get emojis and a success thing, which is really nice. With this, I think it's something that you would include in your own applications in the registration step. You can also use a similar approach to get an extra layer of confirmation from users at a critical moment. So for example, and you've probably seen GitHub do this, like you can click around and comment on pull requests and that kind of thing, but as soon as you want to give someone admin access or make repo changes or use any of those kind of high level admin role tools, then GitHub pops up an extra auth layer and asks you to enter your password again. And I think of the Verify API as two different things, either to confirm someone's details when they first register, so you know you do have their correct phone number and you can reach them, or for that extra step up moment where they've logged in with maybe a username and password, but you want a second factor, either a second factor on login or a second factor for a higher risk operation. Either way, I think Verify API fits that really well, and you can sort of fit in, is it SMS? Should it be a phone call with a spoken message? You can customize what the delay looks like, how many text messages, how many phone calls, what order those happen in. The languages that are used has support for quite a lot of languages in text to speech. So I think there's a bunch of stuff there that you can use. Oh, Exy's here. Hello. And they say, or delete a repo. Yes, you definitely need the extra step up auth before you delete a repo. And I'm okay with that. Like, I feel like that's a good thing to check with me. I am pretty good at locking my machine when I walk away, even here at home. But you know, it's easy to make that mistake, and if you're in a public place, can be a really big problem. So just for the extra confirmation, did you really want to delete this repo? Can you just do an extra confirmation for me here? I think that's really, really important. Yeah, GitHub has nailed the secondary auth. Yeah, GitHub, I think for developers, it's the best example, partly because we're all familiar with it. If you have any Exie, good morning. Good running in, running out, perfect. If you have, GitHub's an ideal example because as developers we're pretty much all familiar with it, but also because if you have any sort of admin access, even on just your own repos, you'll sometimes be prompted for that extra password for a more high risk or high profile operation. And the way that GitHub does that with the step up auth, typically they have reasonably long-lived logins. I don't have to log into GitHub itself every day. But if I start going around doing something big, then it will just ask me to reconfirm my password, which I think is good. It's low friction, it's unobtrusive, but it's appropriately secure, and I think that can be a real challenge. So you can use a password as a second factor, where the first factor, I guess, is like your existing refresh token or session data. In this case with Verify, it's good to use it on login to verify the user's contact details, but you can also use it again later for a step up auth. And I think what this app does really well is it shows the multiple steps that you need. If you remember, I shouldn't have clicked through, I should have just opened a new window. That this request a verification, this first box on the left, is one API call. And when you get the response, then you make another API call with both the request ID and the code that the user sends you. And then you can go ahead and see that in action. Now, I very rashly made some promises about showing you this in Go and have built support for Verify in Go. So I'm thinking maybe we could have a look at that. Please keep your questions and comments coming in the chat. Phone's gone to sleep, that's fine, I don't need it. We'll go back up to full screen. And Lauren saying, let's go. Okay, perfect. Let's see what we can find. So I've been working on a big refactor for the Go library. I need a place to put this. Let's just dump it in here. Gosh, there's a bunch of things in here. Let's not look too much at the mess that's in my demo folder, but I'm going to dump something else in there too. I've been working on a big refactor for the Nexmo Go library, so you'll see an early release of this coming out, but yeah, I know some of you are interested, so we'll get it on screen. It's all on GitHub. We work in the open. You're very welcome to come and dig about. And you'll find it's in the open pull request, and it is this one called Refactor OAS, and this branch is 70 commits ahead of master. Yeah, at least. I've been going on this for a while. And there's a bunch of stuff in here, and it includes some Verify functionality, which we should be able to find if I scroll down. I need to put table of contents in my README. This seemed fine when I started, and it's all getting a bit out of hand now. Okay, here's the Verify API. So if I grab this example, and you can see it refers to the github.com Nexmo community, Nexmo Go. Now I already have this on my checked out locally, so I've already done go get of the library, and it's on this branch already. So you would need to do those steps if you want to use this library before the release. There is also an alpha release out, so look out for, I think it's 0.12, the alpha release, if you want to try this at home. So I've grabbed that whole code sample, and I'm going to call it verify request.go, and I'm going to paste it all in here. Let's have a look at what's actually happening here, not least to make sure that I understand what's going on. The package is main and the function is main, so Go will run this main function by default. First thing we're going to do is create an auth object, and not like that, we're not. os.getIn. So I'm going to use the environment variables again, and mine are called Nexmo API key and Nexmo API secret. We have rebranded to Vonage, but apparently I have not rebranded. Like, my environment variables have been called this forever. So let's also, if I use the go imports command, it'll add the imports that I need. Go gets very upset if you include imports that you don't use, or if you don't yourself include imports that you do use. And I've just added the OS getenv there, so I need the OS library. I'm creating a new verify client with that auth object that I just created. And in different products, you'll see different types of auth. Some of them use JWTs with an application ID and a private key. I know that we do get questions on those as well, so I'm going to talk more about JWTs either later or next week, see how this works out. Either is fine. We need to send a phone number somewhere. Okay, I've got one of those phone numbers. We're going to set who it's from, and we're going to set some options. So I can set the code length, which is by default is 4. I can set that to be 6 if I want to. I can set the language to be Spanish. I'm not sure my Spanish is up for this. Let's take that out. I can set the workflow ID, and that will send SMS and then another SMS. So this way it'll never phone me, which is good because it's hard to answer the phone while you're coding. If there are no errors, if there is an error, then we're going to print the error. If it's successful, now this API is a bit funky with its HTTP status codes. You need to check the status in the body of the response. This one's one of our legacy APIs. So if the status is status is not 0, okay, something went wrong. But if it is, it'll just give us this request ID, and we'll need to copy that and use it with the code that the user supplies. So I'm just going to run this from the command line, and we're going to have a little go. Pun not intended, but turned out pretty well. So go run verify request.go. Luke's laughing at my jokes. Oh, this is probably an emergency situation. It doesn't happen often. Go run verify request.go. And let's just gonna unlock my phone, and maybe we'll bring that over here as well. Unknown field, workflow ID. Really? Does have workflow ID. Oh, I copied that straight from the README. Anyone want to make a pull request? Should we do pull requests as a spectator sport? I think we really should. I'm gonna fix it here first. Yeah, I had a whole dilemma about whether it should be ID with uppercase I and D, or ID like a word, uppercase I, lowercase d. Apparently I changed my mind in the middle. Okay, missing API key. Oh, yeah. Those environment variables won't be set. Let's set them. Okay, so I have a script that exports environment variables to my current environment. I won't post my API key, but I won't post my API secret, but I can show the API key, so you can just see that I've got it next to API key. Boom. Okay. I think I've got variables now. Third time lucky? Perfect. That's the request ID. And where's that phone gone? There it is. The message just appeared on the phone. So it's 4222329. Yeah, we'll have to come back to that. What I don't have is a script to check the field. However, they're pretty much the same. So I know that I can just copy verify request and make it verify check. And then just change how that works. Verify check.go. Now the pin is valid for 5 minutes, so the pressure's on. Right, I've got 5 minutes to confirm this code. Verify user's phone number. This is the README for the project. So I want this one, check verification code. You can already see the shape is pretty much the same, so it's this line that I need to change. And it's going to go here. Excellent, and then this is going to be request completed, so that we can tell which is which. Request ID, which I'm just going to paste. No, not like that. Request ID, which I'm just going to paste. It's that number. This is why I need a copy-paste buffer, because I'm constantly overwriting things. And the pin code. Where is it? Here it is, 4222329. Here it comes. 422329. I think we're under 5 minutes. I don't even have the second text yet, which I think is 3 minutes in. Any danger this is going to work first time? Anyone taking bets? Request completed. Okay, and we can check the status of that request as well. So we can run a search and see what happened with it. Exie says false alarm. The baby is a false alarm. Okay, perfect. Is this in Ubuntu? Yes, it is. Yeah, I'm an Ubuntu user. I'm a long-time Ubuntu user. I'm also a keyboard-only user. So having the ability to run almost everything from the terminal and use the helper tools. So that copy-paste buffer that you're seeing is Albert, a bit like the Alfred thing that you probably have on the Mac. So yeah, cool. Request completed. Gonna go the whole... No, I'm not. I'm going to do a little diversion. So let me tell you something about the Go library. The new version of the Go library, I wanted to have examples like this where I could try stuff out. And so I started building a little command line tool. So let's find it. What window manager? It's just GNOME. No, Exie, you're very welcome to be off topic. As long as it's vaguely geeky, I'll always talk to you. GNOME. Yeah, no, it's just absolutely bog standard, out of the box Ubuntu 2004 with not much customization. Except I picked a style where I could tell which window was active because the default ones seem to make that really difficult. So if you go on that Nexmo repo, which is, by the way, moving to a new address next week. Sorry. We'll have redirects in place. You may not notice, but the naming will change. If you look on that OAS refactor branch, then in the examples, one of the examples is something called Vongo. This is the Vonage Go CLI. I mean, it would be rude not to, right? And the way this works is, I mean, I could compile it, but it has a verify command. And if we have a look at the help for the verify command, this will help me remember how to tell you how the verify command works. Right, so we've got Vongo verify. We can do check, search, or start. So you've just seen start and check. I'm going to show you search. And I also need to supply those two global flags that are at the bottom of the screen. And that's key and secret. This API, this CLI tool doesn't have storage yet. Like, there are no good ways to do it, and I'm not ready to tell you to write your creds to disk for my tool. So it's still there in global flags while I work out how I feel about that. All right, so we're doing verify search, and we're doing it with key. Oh, I wonder if I've got the creds in here. Probably not. Let's do that set-env command again. Okay. Go run main.go. It's the verify command. I'm doing search, and the key is going to be Nexmo API key, and the secret is going to be Nexmo API secret, and the request ID that I'm interested in having the search for, I think it's a hyphen, not an underscore, didn't look at enough detail at the help, is going to be this thing that I'm going to find out on my copy paste buffer. Bad credentials. Really? Oh, it's their environment variables. Of course they are. Try again. There you go. So you can see the request ID, the account, the status. The status is success. So if we had just done the start and then never called the check, or if we had called the check with the wrong code, if we'd had to send one SMS and then send another one because we never followed up, you would be able to see that here. So you'd be able to see in progress, success, expired. I think there are some others, but that's typically the ones that I see. And you can see the dates as well. So you can do a bunch of stuff with this API as well to look back at what happened in the past. Cool. So that's verify. So that's 2FA, and you get the idea now of how you would include that in your own application. So as one of your registration steps, send the PIN we will do the retries and the different formats, whatever makes sense, to make sure that user gets the code. All you need to do is integrate the Verify API, and then you'll be able to be confident that you do have their correct contact details. There's something else I want to show you with Verify API, and I'm really confident it's not in this library because I haven't come back to update it yet. I'm just wondering which SDK has the new Secure Customer Authentication feature in it. So this is an EU regulation which has come in for payments, and much like GitHub prompting you for your password, the Secure Authentication is for any payment handlers. You're a user, you're logged in with your username and password, but when you want to put a payment through, you may, if you're EU based, you may have already noticed this. If you want to put a payment through, your bank, instead of popping up some sort of website for a special other password, will then send you a text or a phone call with spoken instructions with the codes in. So Verify API has that too, and I think we should go and have a look at it. So I'm trying to think which of the libraries have it. I feel like PHP doesn't have it because I've seen the pull request open. Let's just have a quick look in Postman. Always the easiest way. Here's Verify. Let's grab the API reference and download the spec. I will throw it back into Postman. There is the spec. And the other thing I should do in Postman actually is revoke that secret that I broadcast creating earlier. Let's put that on our to-do list. And I got a README fix to fit in as well if anyone wants to see that. I at least need to remember to do it. I don't need 2 copies of the account API. I really don't. Okay. XD's asking, are there alternatives to SMS or voice given SIM hijacking? Yeah, I mean, I think the issues around the security of your phone number are really, they are tricky. And that's one reason why we've moved away from recommending the text a PIN as a passwordless login route, because it's just not safe. I think it's pretty good as a second factor, but I don't like it as a sole factor at all. The current version of the Verify API does not have alternatives of SMS and voice. I expect to see more channels in the next iteration, but that won't be this year. So I think we will see more alternatives, and different banks are doing different things. So some people will have like a PIN thing. Is it more convenient / secure than your telephone? Great question. So yeah, it's a tough one, but I think as a second factor, it's appropriate. And SMS and voice, I think, are equivalent in terms of how risky they are. Hopefully that answers the question. Let's grab the Verify spec. I just need the collection. Here we go. This is the Nexmo Verify API. So what you've seen already is request and check and search. There's also control where you can cancel a request but only in a reasonably small time window, or you can also advance to the next event if you need to. The use cases are a bit, I don't see this one very often. The one I want to show you here is the PSD2 feature, which I've opened and immediately closed. What are we doing here? Let's just leave that like that. Let's have this one. Okay, perfect. XD asking, I'm just thinking other 2FA like the authenticator applications or a YubiKey. Yeah, I don't have any of the other authenticator applications or YubiKey integrated into Verify API at this point. So it's just the telephony option of your solution. So you probably would need to do more than one integration if you wanted to offer more than one option. It depends what you're securing, right? If it's like add an extra password to upload the photo on your Neopets account, like 2FA is probably appropriate. If it's transfer life savings in shares from one place to another, probably not sending just a text message to a phone number. So it's that level of what's appropriate for your environment as to what makes the most sense. Actually, I don't know what you do, so I'm making this real general advice. I think as a second factor, the phone-based verification is fine. I don't like it as a sole factor. I don't like it as the only thing. So it should be something you have, like your phone, something you know, like a password. So it's, yeah, something like that. Just curious. Yeah, literally just SMS or text-to-speech. And you can have it in any number of languages with some different timings and some different combinations of how many messages and how many phone calls. That's where we're at. Okay, so here is the PSD2 endpoint, and it's a lot like the verify request one. So it's a new feature. You should see it arriving in the SDKs pretty soon. Some have it, some don't. I'm blanking on which ones do have it, so that's why we're here. Because Postman always has it. And we have a workflow ID. I'm still going to go for 4. 4 is my favourite because it's SMS, so I don't get phone calls. Next event wait. Oh, hold on. Let me try and pull this a little bit. I don't need all these arguments. I don't need any of those. This is how you make the wait time shorter. Okay. API key and secret. I know that this will preview my creds, so let's just switch over to the nonsense creds while I put this in. And this one, API secret, the number. We'll just keep using this phone that I've got the preview of showing because I think that's helpful. So the payee is, I don't know how long this can be. It's like 19 characters or something. And the amount, let's have a really weird amount. I'm going to do 2781 for no reason. And country, I don't need the country. So for an ordinary request where we're just verifying the user's number, we just need the number and like a from, like a brand. In this case, you're confirming an amount, which is always in euro. So then you have a phone number, a payee, so you're confirming a payment to a person, to this payee for a specific amount of euro. Let's get some live creds, and I wonder, hold on, let's find the phone. Where have I left it? There it is. Let's put that on the same desktop as Postman. I wonder if Postman can move over a little bit. I don't usually use a pointing device. So it's all a little bit weird. Okay, fine. Let's try that. And let's just... Oh yeah, what I should have done was unlock the phone before we started. Let's just put that off screen. Unlock the phone. Okay. Cool. So let's have a look at the secure authentication for Verify. Here it is. API key, secret, number, payee, and amount. I'm asking for JSON format, and here's the response. I've got a request ID, so that's a good start. I'm going to copy that because I'm going to need it in a minute. There's Verify showing me the code. And it says your code, and there's the PIN code. And we put the PIN code nice and early, so if you're reading the preview on your watch or just in the top of your phone, then the code's right up front. You can see it really quickly. Is for payment to developer drop-in in the amount of 2781 euros, valid for 5 minutes. And with that, I can take the request ID and the code and do check in the same way that I usually do. Which, just going to switch out my creds again for a second. Here we go. I want JSON format, and I'm going to send an API key, API secret. These are variables, and I'll switch my environment to take advantage of that in a moment. There's the request ID that was returned by the previous request. And then the code I can see there on the phone is 6621. Oh, and I didn't switch my creds over. I thought it was all going a bit too well. Invalid value for parameter IP address. Why am I sending IP address? Yeah, I don't need to do that. This field is no longer used. Let's not send it then. Okay. Luke's going to a meeting, coming back soon. Okay, perfect. And there's my request ID with the status of 0, the event, the price, the currency, and so on. So let's have a look at the detail on Verify Search, because the command line that I showed you from Go just shows you a little bit. But if I search for this request ID, and what else have we got? No, this request ID, and the API key and secret. So if you have a need to implement the additional payment confirmations that we're seeing is coming in as an EU regulation, then we have it. So you can go ahead and use our version. Why can't I see the scroll bars? Oh, there it is. Okay. Don't normally have scroll bars, so I'm a little bit weirded out by this. Okay, here we go. And it's JSON format. So this is the detailed search response. And I just showed some of the top level fields in the example app just to give an idea of how to access them. But what's nice here is that it shows you how many PIN code checks there are. So if you do it wrong 3 times, your request is considered to be failed. But you can see the code that came in and whether it was valid or not. So that can be really informative as to what's coming in, whether somebody transposed some digits or whatever. And then there's events as well. So this one's SMS. If you have phone calls or multiple events, they would all appear here. And you also can get this result while the request is in progress. So if you're implementing Verify API, I strongly recommend that you hook up to the search endpoint and use it very closely, because it gives you a lot of information even while the request is in progress. And then after it's finished, it can be missing for a little while, but after it's finished, it goes into the long-term storage, and you can still access all the details of the events and the different contact mechanisms there. So in terms of not understanding what happens at what time, or when something happened, which contact methods were used, and that kind of thing, the search endpoint is absolutely where it's at. So yeah, we've got the Secure Customer Authentication there, which is required for the EU payments. It's reasonably straightforward to implement. You should see it in the SDKs. If you don't see it and you need it, let us know and we'll get it in. I think most of them are in. The Go library isn't, but it's on my to-do list. So that's definitely one to watch. Next, I'm going to go back and just fix that workflow ID problem in the Go library that I saw earlier, and add that in to the code to what I'm working on. I will not remember if I don't do it while I'm thinking about it. One thing that I've been quite conscious of lately is making sure all of our repositories are ready for, we're going to be big participants in Hacktoberfest, so making sure that we're ready to receive things and keeping these small things up to date is really definitely part of it, and definitely opening some good issues as well, that finding things that people could work on. You know, if you care about a thing and you want to work on it, we want that, and looking at how to be an enabler for contributions to an open source project. So I have that very much on my mind at the moment. And I'd love to know if any of you are open source contributors or hoping to do Hacktoberfest this year. I'll probably cover some of the topics about Hacktoberfest, about being a contributor beforehand. So if you have requests, I guess you can sneak them in now and probably get those covered. Alright, so it was the verify requests, wasn't it? Verify user's phone number, and the workflow ID should be workflow ID. I wonder if I have that anywhere else. Let's have a look. Okay. Where has that one worked? Okay. And the cancel doesn't have workflow ID in it. We've got trigger, we've got search. So we've got everything here that we need. Exy saying, my work contract is not clear on open source stuff, so I don't contribute much. That's really frustrating. It's, I've always been an open source contributor. That's how I learned. So I've really struggled in places that haven't had a good understanding of open source or have had really restrictive policies on open source. If you have no policy, that's fine because I can do what I like. But it's something it's something that not all employers necessarily understand why it's valuable. So much of what we do is based on the open source libraries that I really enjoy being able to just go in and fix some stuff, especially if it's stuff that I use. Then I feel like I'm doing myself a favour, never mind anybody else. Exy has no application for the Vonage stuff. I feel that'll change. We'll get there. Mark is planning on doing Hacktoberfest again, the 6th year running. A large part of how I know Lorna is due to open source contributing. Yeah, and I think that's a lot of my professional network comes through the open source projects. Sometimes it's people that I've worked with, and I was consultant for a while, so I got to know lots of people. I'm a conference speaker, get to know lots of people that way. But the people that you code with on the open source projects, I feel like that's a really important relationship, and it's how I know loads of different people. And I've collaborated with them on different things, and that it's that I really like that. That's really awesome. 6 years in a row though, Mark, for Hacktoberfest. Do you hack on the same project every year, or one project, or do you kind of skip about and look for places that you can help? I think I've only really done Hacktoberfest as a maintainer. So I am typically fielding all of those pull requests that change a single comma, a bit like this that I'm about to do now. So that's the fix that I wanted to add, and this is where we find out if I have other changes lying about in my working directory. I don't. It's just that one change to README. Amazing. That's all good. Exy says, this employer doesn't seem to realise they have developers. That seems like a bit of a disadvantage if you are the developers. Yeah, I'm really sorry to hear that, because I think the technology, the development side is such a strong part of our identities, and we learn so much from each other that it's really valuable to be able to do more of that. Mark just skips about. Sometimes it's my own stuff. Yeah, I think I probably qualify for Hacktoberfest every year. Like I must open that many pull requests most months. So there's that. And there's always things to do, so that's good. Currently on my pull request list is some Vonage stuff. I've got some good PHP pull requests to review. We've recently done a big release of a PHP library, so there's a good, check out version 2.2 if you are PHP SDK users. There's some really good stuff in there, and I'm also adding a couple of things. I'm not adding a couple of things. Chris is the maintainer. Chris is adding a couple of things. I am reviewing them, so I will get to play with those later in the week. What else is going on? I've got some pull requests open for some of my own projects as well. So I'm a maintainer on a Python project called RST to PDF, which is what it sounds like. Take a text editor, write some restructured text, press a button, or rather run a command, turn it into a PDF. That's what all of my presentation slides are made of as well. So I've got changes to review on that, and I've also got some changes. There's a project called Redoc, which I think you may have seen on this stream, which does the documentation it generates documentation from OpenAPI specs, and they have some really good changes coming, which are accessibility improvements. So these are things where I've opened tickets for, I can't click on this thing, I can't click on that thing. And what they've done is they've taken those tickets and they've got some pull requests open, and they also have an exciting new feature for me to test as well. So while I'm not a maintainer, or I'm not sure I'm even a contributor to Redoc, I'm probably a docs contributor to Redoc. I feel like I'm a docs contributor to a lot of projects because I ask questions, but once you've answered the question, I'll always go back and update your README. so that you don't have to answer the same question from all of the users in the world ever, one at a time. If a maintainer gifts you some attention or some answer, then it's up to you to use that and scale it up as best you can. So I'm a docs contributor to all kinds of projects. But I'm not a contributor to Redoc, but I do review a bunch of stuff for them from an accessibility point of view, and that's completely selfish because I love using Redoc locally. It's a really easy way for me to use API documentation, so I really enjoy that. And they have a sneaky new feature that I'm going to get to review as well. So I have a bunch of open source things on in a normal week or a normal month. So I think I've registered for Hacktoberfest most years because I live here, or I live out there on the internet, on the GitHub all the time. I try not to have favourite projects, but the ones that I'm a maintainer of obviously are very important to me. And I've moved through different ones over the years. I like to have a project that pushes my skills, and that's how I've learned many of the things that I'm doing. Let's commit this while I can remember what it's about. So I have, hold on, Git status. I've made a minor change to the README, that's fine. Git commit, fix verify API request, example in README. Okay, good. And if we push that up, you can see it if you're following along at home. I would love to know if you try that Go library, by the way, because it's very much work in progress and it's itself open source. I love that I get paid to do it. That's really nice. But there's a lot to do. Okay, so we've seen a few different bits and pieces of security. One thing I did is something that I said we should never do. So that's brilliant. And we're going to go back and clean it up now. And that's, I created a secret that you could see. And now I need to revoke it. So if we go back here and do retrieve API secrets, the response will change because I now have more secrets. I don't think I need the phone, so let's go full screen. I now have more secrets. You can see this one that we created today, and then my sort of current active one that I had to reset after a stream the other week. Actually look, just before a stream, I do remember doing that. Yeah, it wasn't, something had happened to my account and I was like, I don't think I leaked my secret, but I'm just going to rotate it anyway. It's very good practice to rotate your API secrets. So that's one reason why I want to show you how to do this programmatically. We've only done one leg of it. So when you have an API secret, then you create a new API secret, which is what we've done. Then you take the time while they're both active to go around and update all the applications that use that secret. And then you come back and you revoke the old one. And as you can see, here's the revoke endpoint. It's an API key and secret ID. The authorization is going to be, we're just going to inherit that. Remember that I set the auth on the folder level. I'm definitely getting to grips with Postman a little bit more, which is nice. So we set the authentication at secret management level. And it's just basic auth, so it's the word basic and then base64 encoded, username, colon, password, or in our case, API key, colon, API secret. The parameters are the API key, which we know, and the secret ID, which I should have copied out of the other page and didn't. Not the verify ones. Retrieve API secrets, here we go. So I'm looking for the one that I created today. Try not to revoke the other secret. Not that it matters, but involuntary secret rotation just means I have to update my creds in more places. So I'm going to copy that string. That's the ID of the secret. And you can kind of see that this is a relative link. You can kind of see the idea here that it's got the secret ID in it. This one, yeah. And then we revoke like this, put the secret ID here, it's a string, Looks plausible. Send the request. 204, no content. Can you read this? It's tiny. Anyway, status code 204, no content. And that's really common as a response to deleting API, or deleting anything really via API. I don't have anything to tell you. So instead of 200 and I have nothing to tell you, that specific 204 means it was successful, everything's good, and you should not expect any body content to the response. So that just manages the expectations of the client. Like, it's 204, everything's good, but I don't need to send you anything. Like, if I fetch something, the response will be 200 and the body will be the thing. But if I do 204, if I do a delete, what? There's nothing to send back. By definition, it's not there anymore. That's how that works. Let's double check the plan. So I've got this array of secrets, and there's 1, 2 things in the secrets. I'm going to repeat that request. And now we should see there's only one. And it's the one with the older date. I feel like I'm doing it right. So a little bit of secret rotation is really good practice, and it's something that we strongly recommend. It's also available through the dashboard, but you can do it like this. You can also use things like, especially for me when I'm demoing, I don't use it, but if you watch on the other Wednesday, then you've met Sam, who is one of the Low Code Hour contributors. And I know that he has a script that sets a known silly secret and another script that unsets it. So that's really helpful if you are trying to avoid leaking your secrets. And you've also seen today that I have them set in environment variables and a script that I can pull them into my local environment without having to show them on screen. And I found that really helpful. Definitely broadcasting my key. I'm not that I'm never sharing my secret. It happens and I'm all right with it. But I feel like it's happening less often now that I have more of a handle on it. Watch me immediately open it in a text file or something now. That's hilarious. Okay, so you've seen Verify in the GitHub example. If you want to give it a try, I'm going to give you the sign up link, and you're going to take a note of, there's the sign up link, short link for you, and you're going to take a note of the coupon, which is also here on screen. So just get the coupon, it's €10, and it also updates your account to give you a few more permissions, so that's definitely worth it. If you are new to Vonage APIs and you want to give Verify a try, that'd be good. I'd be interested to know if you are looking at Verify for the 2FA, or if you're coming to this because you need to implement the Secure Payment Authentication. Secure Customer Authentication for payments. It's the European Payment Services Directive version 2. But it's a simple integration, and I think if you need it in your application, this is a reasonably good way to do it. I'm pretty comfortable with it, which is nice. Okay, there's one more thing I was hoping to squeeze into this edition. Mark is saying, can't get my account sorted, looks like I need to get a new account, but I can't as the phone number is linked to the other account. This is a known problem, Mark. I am going to sort this out after I get off the stream. I am going to try and remember, and if I don't, you can Twitter DM me and we'll fix it. Okay, there's one more thing I wanted to show you. I'm not sure I can do it in 11 minutes, as I typically aim to finish at 5:30. But let's at least have a look at the documentation. So as with everything, I'm on developer.nexmo.com. This will move as well with the Vonage rebrand, but not this week. There's a plan. It's a huge plan. And I want to show you the way the signing messages works. Now, we have API key and secret, and that allows you to make requests to the now I'm saying Nexmo because I've just said Nexmo. You have an API key and secret, which allows you to make a call to the Vonage servers and send some data, and it's all HTTPS, which is all fine. But when it's, we want to be sure that the payload hasn't been tinkered with. And when this makes me really nervous is when we have incoming webhooks. Now this happens in a bunch of places in the Vonage APIs because they're all two-way, right? A one-way conversation is not a conversation at all. So we like to have, and there's two types of incoming message. One is kind of the obvious one that you think of. You can send an SMS, you can receive an SMS. And that incoming SMS will be a webhook that comes to a URL that you configure for your application. The other type of incoming message is, it's the result of an event. So maybe something's going on in your phone call, either the call is completed or somebody inputs some keypad numbers. You get events for all of those things. So there's lots of like event-driven HTTP messaging coming in. And you need to be careful about the signatures. So when I talk about webhooks, what we're asking you to do is to run an open endpoint that we can send requests to, and we want to be careful with that, and that's why we have signing messages. So we can send messages with signatures, and again the libraries will do that for you, but I want to talk particularly about validating the signature on the messages. And I've got a few different libraries already have support for it, and I write a bunch of languages, but .NET's not one of them. If you have .NET questions, you need to let me know, and I would need to bring a guest to help me. So verifying the signatures, and the way this works is, if you scroll all the way down this page, there's like beautiful, comprehensive, explanatory documentation of how to do this manually. Don't do that. Life's too short. Use the libraries, use the built-in, use the SDKs, and they make things easy. So we can do like an is valid to check the signature. And the way it works is, if you look in your dashboard, then you've got a signature secret separate from your API key and secret that you normally use and that you've seen me have here. We've got the signature secret. And the signature secret is a shared secret that both the Vonage servers and in your application are going to use to generate a known signature from the signature secret and all the other fields in the payload. You create like a known string and then hash it with a known algorithm. This is ideal because it means that even if somebody intercepts and changes that payload, by checking the signature, it's like a checksum. You can be sure that if the signatures match, then you can be sure that the fields that Nexmo sent you were signed with the same signature secret as you have locally creating the same signature. It's slightly tedious to do, and also because we sort alphabetically, but some different languages sort uppercase, lowercase, and hyphenation differently. That's really exciting. So sometimes that goes wrong on us. And this is a really important approach. Now, what we can't enforce at the Vonage end is that as an API consumer, you actually check the signature. All I can do is make it easy for you, yeah? So it's like, signature, check. This is what you need to do. I can't make it easier than this. You need to enable signatures on your account to have them, but after you've done that, with all incoming requests, we'll have these extra signature fields, and you can check that they are that they match what you would expect given the same payload. And I think this is something we need to be really conscious of in the way that we work. These examples are for SMS. The new Messages API has a different way of signing. It uses JWTs. So we use JWTs for sending and for receiving, for sending API calls and for receiving webhooks in Messages API. We use JWTs for sending in voice and in conversation. So they come up all over the place. I knew that I wouldn't have time to cover JWTs today, but I did want to show you this signature thing. So hopefully that's given you a little bit of context for webhook security as well. So the plan is in the next episode to move on from just checking the signing the messages. You've seen some 2FA stuff today, and you've seen some API secret stuff. In the next episode, so 2 weeks today, in that what am I trying to say? In that episode, we will look at the JSON web tokens. So we'll look at how you generate them, what helper tools we have, how to check if something goes wrong, and how we use them in the API calls and in the incoming messages, because I think that's pretty important in both cases. So that's something, if that's you, if you work with JWTs, whether it's with our APIs or with any other APIs, I think especially for client-side applications and mobile applications, they are a key concept. So that might be useful. You might want to pop in. And if you, again, as always, if you have questions that you kind of want us to pick up, you need to bring them and tell us. You can tweet at us beforehand. You can talk to us in the chat. This is office hours for you. It's for you to drop in and tell us what you need to see. I'll answer any questions I can in the moment that you ask them. Sometimes you might need to wait till the next episode if I have to round up an expert or go and do some research. But that's what I want this to be about. I want us to be able to take your questions, answer as many as we can. I really enjoyed showing you Verify API today. It's an unsung hero, in my opinion. Adding 2FA to applications is super important. And being able to do the secure payment authentication as well, I think is really key. So I hope you found it interesting and useful. I think I'm pretty much done for today. Let's stop screen sharing. And we'll just wrap it up. I think if it's good, let me know. If you have questions, let me know. I would love to hear more about what you found interesting or what you'd like to hear more of. Next time we'll look at the JWTs, both for your API calls and for checking incoming webhook signatures. So we should have just a bit more security stuff, but it's things that I think are really important. So yeah, thanks for joining me. I will be back in just a couple of weeks and we'll talk about more stuff then. Other topics are always available for request. It's always good to hear from you. I know a few people have tweeted at me in between. So do that, stay safe, and I'll talk to you soon.